Hello, this is Mike Wade, and welcome to this week's video featuring Tom's Tools and yours truly, Mike Wade. The disclaimer is stock and options trading has large potential rewards, but also large potential risks. You must be aware of these risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the stock and options market. Do not trade money you cannot afford to lose, and remember, I'm a trader, I'm not an investment advisor, and please don't construe anything I'm about to share with you as advice. All prices are in US dollars unless noted otherwise, and please read the balance of the disclaimer at your leisure. All right, so what's going on in the markets? It's December the 17th, 2018. Christmas is, 8 days away or so. Got to go buy some presents. You can see here that the markets are decidedly bearish. They've been in a slide since essentially mid to late September. We've had a lot of volatility. The 50s crossing beneath the 200-day moving average. And as of the 17th, we broke decisively through strong support at 2,600 on the S&P 500, and all of that was accompanied on big volume. I have to say, this is a decidedly bearish picture, and the markets look poised for more downside. All right, so as option traders, that's really good news. We can do amazing things with bearish strategies like puts and short call spreads and all sorts of things of that nature. But if you're a stock trader, this is really about lemons. This is a bad place, Chicken Little, the sky's falling. But that's not actually the case. So this strategy here, what I want to do is take this bearish market and turn it into lemonades by actually buying stock. And I want to find the best stocks. In fact, I'm not even going to use stocks. I'm going to use exchange-traded funds. So find the best performing exchange-traded funds that have the biggest dividends and are paying those dividends on a monthly basis. This is a monthly income producing strategy, and I call it, once again, my lemonade strategy. All right, so we're going to get into the tools. I've actually talked about the dividend ranker before, but really what I want to do here is take it and do some really cool stuff with it. You can use these scanners, mix them together, and produce some really powerful results. So here is what we're going to do in this video. Number one, we're going to find the ETFs that pay monthly dividends. Step two, we're going to find the best rising dividend yield ETFs. So which ETFs have dividend yields that are on the rise? And then of those ETFs, I'm going to find the ones that are not bearish or very bearish in this very bearish market. So I'm looking for ETFs that are going up more than or down less than the current market. And again, this is the lemonade strategy. So before we really can dig in, it's important to distinguish what dividend yield is. First off, a dividend is a check that's paid to you on a quarterly basis. Typically, ETFs actually pay them, some ETFs actually pay them on a monthly basis. All right, so the dividend could be thought of as return on investment or yield when compared to the actual stock price. So dividend yield is calculated by dividing the dividend amount, the annual dividend amount, by the current stock price. All right? And it's important because the dividend yield is tied to the stock price. When stock prices move, so does your dividend yield. So for example, in point 3 is really important. If the stock price drops, the dividend yield will rise. So for example, if I have a $100 stock that's paying a $2 annual dividend, that's a 2% annual dividend yield. All right, now if that same stock, which is paying a $2 dividend, drops to 50, then my dividend yield is now 4%. So my dividend yield increased as the stock price drops. Now, stock prices dropping is not a good thing if you actually own the shares. So a higher yield is not always better. And believe me, I have an answer for that, as you'll see when we pop into the software. Let's go do that now. I'm going to go into stocks and do step 1, stocks, stock analysis, and dividends. So remember, step 1 in this process is to find the ETFs that are paying the most frequent dividends. All right? And again, we're going to be looking for monthly dividends. All right, so there's a lot of other stuff in here. We're going to cover 2 of these things, but if you want to know more about the balance of the dividend ranker, feel free to go into help and you can learn about all these other cool stuff, cool things here. And again, in the last video on dividends, I actually talked about all of it. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to look over the last 6 months, and I want to only consider ETFs, REITs, trusts that are optionable. No stocks. Stocks are subject to wild fluctuations based on news. We don't want that. We want ETFs, REITs, and trusts. I click the search button. And in a handful of seconds, you're going to see the results. And let's just quickly review them for the sake of argument. And you can see here we have the stock name, the stock symbol. We can pull the news. That's all the same on all the rankers. We got the actual ex-dividend date, the dividend yield, but based on the ex-dividend date, the forward dividend expected yield. That's the yield calculated on the current stock price going forward. You've got the trailing dividend yield, what it paid last year, and the latest dividend amount. And then here's the most important column. You can see all of these in this list have monthly dividends that are paid out. And then we have the dividend yield change and then the stock price close. Now, this list is sorted by dividend yield. So what I do is I'm interested in any stocks, and these are ranked in a descending order. So I'm interested in any stocks, or ETFs in this case, that are paying at least an 8% dividend going forward. So notice that that's number 20. So I want stock 1 through stock 20, and then I'm going to take these 20 stocks and take them to the next step. So how do I take those 20 stocks and keep working with them? I just take them with the search output. I add the top 20 to my list called My Stock List. That's a temporary holding list. Click Replace. All right, when you've done that, on the top of the screen, you're going to see top 20 stocks were saved in the list, My Stock List. So what I'm going to do with that list is take these top 20 stocks and grab them using My Stock List, and then I want to go out and find those ETFs, these 20 ETFs that have the highest dividend yield change. So I want to see the dividend yield increasing. Again, some of these stocks are going to be dropping, some not, as you'll see shortly. Click the search button, and then you're going to get ex-dividend yield change stocks, and you can see the yield change shown here. And I'm interested in only stocks where the dividend yield is increasing, and you can see right here that this stock 14 is increasing by has increased by 0.4% over the last 180 days or 6 months. And of course I want the top one. So I want the top 14 from 1 to 14. So what I do next, once again, is I take the top 14 and I replace them into My Stock List. All right, almost there. The next step, I want to look for stocks that have changed. I want to see how they performed over the last 6 months. All right, I'm not looking for stocks that have dropped 13 or 26%. I want stocks that are either going up or have dropped a lot less than the overall market has, which has been 13% since the high in mid-September. So the markets have dropped 13% since their high, and so I want to find stocks that aren't dropping that much, a lot less than that actually. So I select bullish and bearish, and then I click search. Again, My Stock List, that's 14 stocks. And then you get this beautiful result here. And of course, I'm very interested in ETFs that have had a positive change. So let's grab those out of the list. Notice here there's 3 of them. And then down here on the bottom, I've got 2 that have dropped less than 5%. So there's 5 great opportunities for buy and hold that are available as of the time of this recording. Simple process. Let's review it so that you're really clear on how to make this happen. So step 1 is to use the dividends ranker to find monthly dividends. Step 2 is to use the dividends ranker again to find the best rising dividend yield ETFs. And then lastly, use closed percent change ranker to find the smallest losers or those stocks that might even be bullish in this bearish market. And simply, once you find those and you like them, buy them and hold them. Screenshots of the steps just to make it super clear. Step 1, monthly dividend ETFs. We get that by selecting ETFs, REITs, trusts, optionable. We rank by dividends per year. We click the search button. And then we look at the results and we save the stocks with at least an 8% dividend yield into my stock list. In my case, that was 20. I save those into my stock list by clicking replace. At that stage, we have 20 monthly dividend ETFs that are making at least an 8% dividend yield as of today. The next step is to take that list of my stock lists and go back and stay in the dividends ranker and then rank by X dividend yield change. I'm looking for increasing yield. I click my search button. And then what I do is I save the stocks, or ETFs in this case, with positive dividend yield change into my stock list. In my case, that was 14. I saved them in my stock list and I clicked replace. Final step is use the closed percent change ranker to find the strongest ETFs. So again, we want 180 days, 6 months. Take that my stock list again, select bullish and bearish, click your search button, and then look at the results and simply buy and hold the stocks that have dropped less than 5% or actually have risen, and begin to collect your monthly dividend checks. All right, everybody, happy holidays. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you next week.